Good afternoon, beautiful people. So yesterday I said good evening, everyone, and someone commented and said, are we still beautiful people? Of course you guys are. So good afternoon, beautiful people, and happy Sunday. Today we are diving into a financial ethics scandal inside the Federal Reserve that touches everything from your mortgage rate to the value of the dollar in your pocket. The New York Times and many other outlets have revealed that Federal Reserve Governor Adriana Kugler, who quietly resigned earlier this year in August, violated the Fed's trading and ethics rules. And the more we dig, the more the story looks less like an accident and more like a pattern of insiders playing by a different rule book than the rest of us. Also, Michelle Obama said that the United States is not ready for a woman president. So please do not waste her time. Let's get into it. Welcome to Nelly Miranda.
U.S. Federal Reserve Governor Adriana Kugler is resigning early from her term, potentially shaking up a succession process at the central bank amid difficult relations with President Donald Trump. Kugler, who served nearly 2 years at the Fed, told Trump in a letter that her last day would be August 8th. Her term was scheduled to end on January 31st, 2026.
As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Okay, so here's what's going on. Adriana Kugler, appointed by Joe Biden and confirmed in 2023, was supposed to be one of the adults in the room, someone overseeing monetary policy, inflation, and interest rates. But newly released financial disclosures shows how she engaged in stock trades that Fed officials simply aren't allowed to make. Some of these trades even happened during what's called blackout periods, the time right before interest rate decisions when Fed officials are banned from touching their portfolios because they may have inside information. And to make things worse, the Fed Ethics Office refused to certify her disclosure forms. That almost never happens. It's like your accountant looking at your taxes and said, yeah, nope, I am not about to sign my name on that.
She called her Board of Governors role an honor of a lifetime, adding that she was proud to have tackled it with, quote, integrity, a strong commitment to serving the public, and with a data-driven approach strongly based on my expertise in labor markets and inflation. Kugler also thanked Fed Chair Jerome Powell for his, quote, unwavering commitment to the Federal Reserve and the American people. Kugler did not attend this week's Fed policy meeting, in which the central bank left interest rates unchanged despite repeated pressure from Trump to lower borrowing costs.
We just found out that I have an open spot on the Federal Reserve Board. I'm very happy about that.
Trump will now get to select a Fed governor to replace Kugler and finish out her term. Her early departure may also shake up the timeline for the succession process surrounding Chair Powell, whose term ends next May. Trump has threatened to fire Powell repeatedly, believing interest rates should be much lower than they are.
If I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
Some have speculated the president's should be much lower than they are.
If I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
Some have speculated the president might pick a potential future Fed chair to fill Kugler's slot for now.
Let me explain why this matters in real life. When the Fed meets behind closed doors to decide whether interest rates should go up or go down, the entire global financial system moves. Markets shift, bond yields rise, mortgage rates change overnight. People win and lose millions of dollars based on those decisions. So when someone on the inside, someone sitting at the table, is making trades during those windows, even if they claim it was their spouse, it doesn't matter. It destroys trust. I think this is obviously what happens when the government gets bigger. It becomes more powerful, and the more inevitable that these ethical cracks become, because power without accountability eventually becomes corruption. Kugler made a series of stock trades in 2024, Apple, Southwest Airlines, Kugler Group, Caterpillar, and many of these trades were large, somewhere in the six-figure range, and at least two of them happened right before key Fed policy meetings. That's the exact period when Fed officials must freeze their trading activity. In July 2025, she even requested a waiver from Jerome Powell to adjust her holdings because she knew that they were out of compliance. Powell obviously said no, and then guess what happened? She skipped the entire July Federal Open Market Committee meeting, one of the most important meetings of the year. Then weeks later, she abruptly resigns.
She has been a member of the Fed Board of Governors since September 13th, 2023. Let's try to get some more information right now because we have an expert sitting to our right. Michael McKee, Talk us through what we know so far.
Well, this is a total surprise. Obviously, there was some issue that she had to deal with that made her miss the Fed meeting, which is an extremely unusual thing to do. But we don't have any information on why she is resigning at this point. But basically, effective immediately, she is going back to the McDonough School of Business at Georgetown University in the fall, apparently. So we know that about her going forward. Now, this brings up a huge issue for the administration and for the Fed, because it's a seat that would have become open in January, and it will now be open in August, which would put a premium on getting somebody nominated as quickly as possible. And the president's issue is, does he put somebody in who he anticipates being the next chair when Jay Powell steps down as chair in May? Or does he hope that Powell steps down in May as a governor? He can stay on until 2028 and appoint somebody else to the seat right now. The president's going to have to make a decision, it appears, fairly quickly.
I think this scandal highlights how deeply compromised the Federal Reserve have become. You have insiders who help set interest rates, trading stocks during blackout periods, creating the appearance of a system rigged for the powerful, while regular Americans struggle with inflation. It also shows how oversized and unaccountable the Fed's authority is. A supposedly neutral institution where unethical behavior keeps slipping through the cracks. If the Federal Reserve loses credibility, the results hit you immediately. The dollar weakens, borrowing costs rise, investors get nervous, credit markets get shaky, and inflation becomes harder and harder to fight. Because once people believe Fed insiders may be trading on inside information, market confidence evaporates. This scandal isn't just about Adriana Kugler. It's about the culture inside the Fed, the lack of oversight, and the political class that believes accountability is optional for them. But what do you think? Should Fed officials or their spouses be allowed to own or trade individual stocks, or should they only be able to own index funds and blind trusts? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, so Michelle Obama said that we are not ready for a woman president. She said, quote, "Don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You are not ready for a woman. You're not ready for a woman. You're not. So don't waste my time. Watch."
Good news, Democrats. Good news, world. Michelle Obama isn't running for president anytime soon. The former First Lady thinks the country is too sexist to elect her. So instead, she's hitting the lecture circuit and scolding Americans, especially men, for being so bigoted and not supporting Kamala Harris.
As we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. So don't waste my time. We got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it.
She's completely forgetting that Kamala Harris was just not a viable candidate for the job. She spent 4 years in the White House and accomplished very little. Inflation was through the roof, borders wide open, and she denied Biden's decline every chance that she got. So we cannot now turn around and blame Kamala's loss on sexism and America's unreadiness. It's nonsense.
She's letting it all hang out. My theory on her is that she's sick of them asking her to run for things and is therefore making herself as radioactive as possible every time she goes in front of a mic. And in this case, I like the idea that, Michelle Obama's she's not an American, she's an Americant. She's not even going to try to get y'all's votes because y'all are just below her. You haven't evolved to the point that you can accept an illustrious candidate like Kamala Harris put before you. And so therefore she will not even step into the arena. It's just it's such a discouraging and negative message.
To her point about not supporting Kamala Harris, I think we got a little wind. I think it was in Jonathan Karl's book that perhaps former President Barack Obama was a little miffed at Nancy Pelosi for too quickly endorsing Kamala Harris because maybe he would have preferred a more open primary. So perhaps the Obamas weren't supporting the woman in the race. What do you make of that?
And it showed because Barack Obama didn't campaign for Kamala Harris until the 11th hour of the election when it looked like she was going to lose. She says that, wow, America is not ready for a female president. I was alive in 2016 when Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. So maybe they were, and if you're looking at total votes in this case, and she's like, well, Kamala Harris, people just didn't want to vote for her because of her gender. No, she was a patently horrible candidate, the worst of our lifetime. So again, when it comes back to race and when it comes back to gender, this is what the Democrats do. This is the Michelle Obama brand.
Dr. Siegel, I thought that Democrats didn't believe in men and women. I thought it was all just a social construct. So I guess I'm a little confused by Michelle Obama's assessment there.
That clip, I kind of wonder about whether she's going to run or not. And I agree with you, this whole idea we don't know what a man or a woman is kind of shining through. But I'll tell you what I think is sexist here. There is something sexist. The way the Biden administration handled Kamala Harris was sexist. You had an apparently demented president sitting there, cloaked, and you had a candidate you knew was going to run, and you didn't let her be president. You hid the whole thing. You made her come on TV and say, he's fine, I know he's fine. I spoke to him yesterday. The entire country knew he wasn't fine. They couldn't have won an election, even if George Washington was running after that.
She went on to tell white people that black women are trapped by their beauty standards.
Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim.
Now, I am not sure why she felt compelled to say that, because no one is forcing black women to straighten their hair. I straighten my hair because it's convenient, it's easier to manage, and I am not rocking a mini curly afro. I have nothing against that look, but I've worn my hair naturally for a long time, and the effort that it takes is way too much, and I'm way too busy.
This whole notion that white women are telling her how to do her hair, I'm rather confused. I think black women and white women can do their hair however they want. You can straighten it, you can braid it, you can wear it natural, you can wear a wig. I do not care. But the fact that she would sit there and say, listen here, white women, I just can't get over it.
No, it is. It's so condescending, and it paints with such a broad brush. Like, she has a point. A silk press and a wig and braids, these are painful sometimes and expensive and time-consuming. And you and I do more with our hair, I think, than these two do. And you could make a gender-based argument on this. But like, I actually read a little bit up on her book, and in the book, she's like, look at all these variety of choices I have for my hair. And that seems like a thing that we should celebrate.
Right. Like, I love all the ways that she wears her hair. Everyone should just do what works for them and their hair. All right, you guys, go enjoy your Sunday. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.